ask Jesus for the fund and what bank can you give? Is it like the heaven? Is it the heavenly bank? They had to put this her first book launch actually.
D boots.
My
baby.
Yeah, your baby. And they said, look, everybody will get beaches. Then they go to somebody carry things for their body. And that's why they're just what you want.
My experience of loss was what made me, delve into poetry. Before I experienced loss, mind you, I'd been writing for the longest time since I was a child. When you love somebody and their behavior is inhibiting you from fully accepting them. Most times we have discernment, and especially when you've been through hurt before, if you're trying to engage with somebody, I think you should listen to what your body tells you when you're around other people. True. Listen to what your mind tells you. Listen to what your spirit tells you.
Yeah, I mean, it's certain where you have a group of people.
Yeah.
There's a way you must behave.
Yes.
So if you can't identify how to behave in a relationship or a partnership, and differentiate it from when you are alone by yourself, then that's where I see that somebody is not responsible because you can't really identify which is which.
Yeah.
You are just one person in every environment. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Stay With K, the podcast, and I'm here with the superhuman princess Elela Attah.
Hi, Casey.
So, high five.
Hi.
So our session is activated. Alright, so Elela Attah, I know a lot about her, but some of them don't know a lot about you. So I guess that's where the question arises from. Who is Elela Attah? So let's go there.
Okay. So first, well, apart from the fact that I am a lawyer and writer, and I just published my debut.
And a poet. You can't skip that.
Yeah, and a poet. I just published my debut collection of poetry, The Center Remains With Us.
Awesome book.
A collection of poems about love, faith, hope, healing, restoration. Yeah, so there's that to me. Apart from all those things, I'm just a person like everybody else with insecurities, with
I just called you a superhuman. How can you now make yourself the same with every person else? You're superhuman.
Okay.
Yes, no, you're actually superhuman. Yeah.
The point is, I don't always see myself as superhuman.
Yeah, but Batman says the same thing, sure, like Superman. They don't see themselves as superhumans, but regardless.
I don't always see myself as superhuman. I'm a person with insecurities, with fears, with vulnerabilities, but also with a sense of who God has called me to be.
Def.
And what He has spoken over me.
Def.
And so I find that in this season, even before now, I'm in a place of openness before God, a place of humility before God. And I am a person who is really dependent on God to lead me, to guide me.
That's also
tell me what to do.
Definitely. That's also so, people make moves like random moves, and there's one move people make and all of a sudden they go haywire and they are above their regular self. So the Center Is With Us, the project, is actually one of those moves I identify as something related to this. Yeah, it's a move that you made. I've known you for a while. I know you've been writing. I see your Instagram posts. You've been writing like poet stuff and all of that. I'm not really big on poets, but then sometimes when I get to read your stuff, they're relatable. Like, most times when I read some poets write, I can't relate. So I just read and I just like, nice writing, and I go. But some of your stuff I can relate to what you're saying. So that's one of the reasons why, I say, let me have this, because why I call you superhuman is if I can read other poets and I don't relate, and I can relate it to you, you're superhuman. So The Center Is With Us actually is an awesome book, and this is a move that broke you out of the shell. And the launch was about, I think, is it up to a week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks, so soon.
Today.
Wow, that's so fast. Yeah. So that was a break out of the shell. So how do you feel about that, Sha?
I feel fantastic about
Okay, you're obviously you're supposed to feel that way.
I feel really great about it because this is something that I had worked on for a while, you know? And I remember the first process of putting out this book was putting out the e-copies of the book.
Yeah.
And that in itself seemed like this world of, you know, like this thing that was really daunting in itself. And I was trying to figure out how to go about it because I'm not a techie person and stuff like that. But some way, somehow, I felt like a certainty in my spirit that this was what I was supposed to be doing at this time. Unfortunately for me, there were people who just sprung out of the blues, you know, and sort of like supported.
Yeah.
So everything I needed was supplied. And that's something that will always be a miracle to me.
Definitely.
You know, so I successfully put out the ebook, and the same certainty I felt just before I, you know, when I was about to, when I decided to put out the ebook was the same certainty I felt when I decided to put out the hard copies.
Okay.
So I felt this certainty that I'm talking about early this year, January actually.
Okay.
I remember where I was when I got the sense of that. I felt like it was even God who dropped it in my spirit.
Definitely it's God. Because there's no man-made.
Yeah, it's definitely not man-made. So yeah, this launch. And at the time, I didn't think I had the resources. I had never done a book launch before. I didn't have the know-how to do it, you know, and so I prayed about it. This is my honest story. I prayed about it and it was crazy. I started asking questions. So I asked this person how much it was going to cost to produce the first batch of my books. And he told me the sum. When he told me the sum, I'm like, God, I beg. Like, God, I beg.
So all this bills.
You know, so I spoke to God later that day and I'm like, God, you're hearing what this person is saying to me. Like, I didn't give myself this thought. It was you who gave it.
You are the one.
So
you have to
the bills are on you.
You guys both bills to God now.
Right. So I was like, bills are on you, Jesus. I was like, bills are on you. And miraculously, it's very interesting. Miraculously, the following day, I got the funds for the first. But it was, I say miraculously because it was literally a miracle.
Like, sorry to break you, but I'm just getting like, you say miraculously, you got the fund. You ask Jesus for the fund, and what bank can you give? Is it like the heaven? Is it heavenly bank?
Because it was money I was not expecting, you know.
Like a gift.
It was a gift actually. It was a gift.
No money paid for job done.
No money paid for job done. It was a gift.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was so timely because the night before I had prayed about this. So when it came, I just knew for certain. If I was second guessing what I heard in my spirit about doing the launch this year, like that was the confirmation I needed. Because look, I prayed for the funds to produce the first batch of the book and the funds miraculously came.
That's good.
So yeah, so that's the whole story and everything. Now, fast forward to, we did the launch 19th of August.
Okay.
So fast forward to June, July, when it was almost time for me to...
The hard copy.
Yeah.
Hard copy launch.
The hard copy, the hard copy launch. Yeah, so there were a few challenges. Some dignitaries that were supposed to attend the launch had called last week to see that you were not able to. Yeah, my friend, I'm like, I'm going to go to that place and there are just going to be 2 people sitting in the audience.
Oh, you felt that way?
Yes.
Wow.
I felt like nobody was going to turn up. In my mind, I was like, what am I even doing? What am I even doing? You know? And thank God for godly friends. Thank God for great people around me. So there was someone I confided in, and it was so powerful how she prayed over me. She spoke life into me, and she said something very powerful.
Yeah.
She said, if angels have to take the form of men to make the launch successful, they will.
Strong.
And she said, the launch is already a success. You just have to walk into it.
Yeah.
So I made personal peace with myself and with God that even if nobody turned up, if it was just me,
I'll take it as it is.
Yeah, I was just gonna go there, and then the launch came, and 3 o'clock, my friend called to tell me that 40 people were already seated in the whole meeting. 3 o'clock on the dot.
That's cool.
On the dot, 3 o'clock. So
Cool.
it was that was great.
You know, most times I ask people, I tell people that I go through challenges in my life, and I hear this word, they say, do your best and leave the rest for God. It's so basic. We don't really understand how powerful that word is actually. You know, most people, they do their best, and they don't just give the rest to God. They follow God and start dragging the rest. You understand? So what me I felt happened there was, at the point you said you just left everything for God, like Jesus take the wheels, do it as you wish. You understand? Let your will be done, right? Now you've done your best. You've written the book, right? And which, according to you, say you've been writing that book for just for a while, and not even with the aim of writing a book. You're just like dropping poems and all of that. Now you've done that part. God will tell you, let me see what you have, then I multiply it.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I believe
it's just like when Jesus was teaching the 5,000 people, right? He didn't just put his hand and say, Father Lord, give me fish and bread. They had to buy fish. They had to buy bread. I'll show God, look at the little we have. I'll bless the works of your hands. That's what happened. So basically, you've already done this, and you told God, look at the fish, look at the bread, multiply it for me. So people don't wait for God to do the rest. They just do their best and take the rest from God as well. So what you did was you did your best writing the book, going about publishing it, then God did the rest. That's it, because you left it for him. But if you drag with God, there's one funny thing people don't know. Once you drag that rest with God, he will say, oh yeah, I'll take it, do it. And you will have to suffer whatever you need to suffer. So I think I can relate to that experience of Jesus take the wheels, actually.
Really, that's what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, I really
That's what's up.
he took the little in my hands.
He took it and multiplied it. So if you don't have this, it won't be anything. He won't say anything to multiply. 100 times 0 is 0.
Yeah.
So you didn't show me anything. So how can I multiply it? I already have my 100. You've not given me a number to multiply with. So basically, that's how God operates. So I'm happy that
You're so good at this.
Oh my God. I'm just sharing, because it's something me personally. There was a time in my life where I felt like what is just happening effortlessly. Something I'm just like, these things are supposed to be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But with the time I struggle and I fight it, it's more difficult. But with them I just do my own part and let it be. It just works. So that's why I can relate to this experience, and I can say this I'm saying actually. We know the book, The Center Remains With Us, was born out of loss. So how did that influence your writing during the process of writing this book?
Okay. Actually, my experience of loss was what made me, delve into poetry.
Okay.
Before I experienced loss, mind you, I'd been writing for the longest time since I was a child. Everyone around knew that was what I loved to do. And, fast forward to even when I was in secondary school, I used to write this high school romance things.
Oh, that's one. You still have a copy of that?
Well, I still have the drafts. That people used to come and say, oh, I'm after the person who is after the person who is after.
Oh,
So I had it.
you help people write notes. Like they outsource their love letters to you.
I can neither confirm nor deny. But yeah, I had that going on. And yeah, so that was just me exploring my creativity in my teen years.
Yeah.
But interestingly, because my mom passed away when I was 19.
Oh.
So yeah, so that was not too far from my teen years, and I was a child basically, Well, the interesting thing was, despite how much I loved to write, and regardless of how I'd always done it, I'd always written, rather, I found that when I experienced loss, I was unable to write. I tried.
Sure.
For months, I would try to scribble something and I wouldn't have the words. I think it had to do with the fact that I was still burning very deeply.
I was still grieving.
I was still down there, beneath the waters. It was very, very difficult. And I've shared this story before.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember, because I had to continue, basically. I had to get back into life. I had school. I had to go back to school. And I remember there was this particular day we had lectures in class, and I think I had gone to class and someone said something very insensitive to my loss. Very insensitive.
That was in secondary school?
No, in uni. Yeah, I was in my third year uni. And someone said something very insensitive to my loss. And it broke me. But because people had been telling me, be strong, you have to be strong. I knew that I had to just put it together and continue. So that's what I did. I went back to my room, I did my chores, and it was I think 2 a.m. or thereabouts, in the middle of the night. I remember waking up and I felt like instantly overwhelmed by my experience earlier that day.
2 a.m.
Yes,
Is that what, how the 2 a.m. Is that part of this is it related with?
I had that in mind when I was naming that particular
for
poem as
real?
well.
That's cool.
So it was 2 a.m. and I woke up and I felt the overwhelming feelings, the feelings I was trying to lock up on the inside.
That's the night of when
The night that it happened. When you're brooding with something in your mind and in your heart, someone said something hurtful to you. You didn't confront the person, so you're brooding.
Yeah, it's still inside.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like it was even okay to confront the person, because who would understand? Like, loss was not something popular. To me, I didn't think anyone around had experienced what I experienced.
Yeah.
The person obviously saying what they were saying to me had not experienced what I had experienced. Otherwise, they would.
The person just wanted to spice you.
Yeah, that was what happened. I woke up, I felt the emotions, fresh as it was, and I started to cry. I cried, I wept. So I think that was a moment of release for me. I think I had a lot pent up on the inside.
Came out through your tears.
That was a moment of release for me. So the holiday before that semester, my aunt had given me a journal and she told me to write down my feelings. So that was the first time I picked up the journal.
That's cool.
And I wrote down exactly what I was feeling. And that was the first time I ever wrote poetry. So before then, I used to write, like when I was younger, I used to write, prose. I used to write novels, like I told you. I used to write, but I never...
The one the artist.
I never wrote poetry. That was the first time.
Okay.
And before the end of the year, I had like 60 poems in my journal.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was the start of poetry.
Okay.
After that, my friend encouraged me to start posting on my writing page.
Yeah, I noticed you. I know you have your page, you have another page where you post your writings. Yeah, which is cool actually.
That started. And I started writing poetry. So it was fast forward to a few months after that. I showed someone my poems, actually, a renowned poet in Nigeria, DK Chukwumerije.
Okay, that's cool.
And he sent me feedback. He was very kind to me, actually. I just walked up to him randomly and I told him, I started writing poems. I don't know if it's good enough. And he said, send me 10 of them, And so I sent it to him and he gave me feedback the following day.
Wow.
And he said, I think you're very talented. So that gave me my very first.
That's awesome. That's why I called you superhuman.
And that's what made me believe. And that's what made me believe that, well, there could actually be something here. I could actually write poetry.
You can do more. Actually, that's a place of, the why. The reason why we start something really matters. Why I tell people give up on their career goals, people give up on, is because their why is not really strong enough. You understand? You're going back to your loss and thinking about it and also reminiscing this particular night that somebody was trying to spite you with your loss and that whole emotional period, you were crying and everything. Going back to that day is a strong experience that you can never forget in your life. So easy. So if your why is not strong enough, I think it will affect the goal itself because you don't have a good background or a base to go back to. This is the reason why I started this. Like you're saying, okay, you started this because of loss, the experience of loss, and it's experience happened over time, and now we're here. And this is a book. This is a physical material from that experience. So this is a milestone. You've gotten to this stage, which I know there'll be more in future and all of that. This is her first book launch actually.
My debut. my baby.
Yeah, your baby, your first child. So actually, the experience actually led to this, and it's a very wonderful book. And everybody, I'm going to put the link in the description below where you can actually buy the book, order for them and everything. It's an amazing book. I finished the book. Yes, I have, and I will tell you a thing about the book. I think I can relate to at least almost every part of the book. I told you about the 2 a.m. I told you about, okay, I didn't tell you the other ones. I'll share them later on in the in the session. But then this is a physical representation. This is a physical product, a milestone of what has happened in the past. The experience from the loss down, wherever the person don't even know that spite. The thing the person said was what even motivated you into getting this book to this point. So it wasn't really a bad thing at the end of the day. So you see, life goes on.
You know, I told you that I couldn't always articulate what I was feeling and experiencing. Like I tried to write after the loss of my mom, but I couldn't, you know. But the interesting thing was that God had given me a word.
Okay.
Like I think it was a month or a few weeks after she had passed away, a month thereabout. I can't remember the specifics, but God had given me a word about writing.
Okay.
You know, He had told me I was going to write. So when I tried to write, I wasn't working. It was just like, you know. But I think what's interesting about the whole come together of things was God knew that I would have that moment that would cause me to get in.
Yeah, that was your why.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what triggered the whole thing.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody going through that phase right now, like somebody going through that phase of expressing loss?
Feel all your feelings.
Feel all your feelings.
Yes.
Don't let anyone in.
Yeah, because it's very, very difficult to, like, you know, stop yourself from experiencing what you're experiencing. So there are stages of grief, there's denial, and almost everybody goes through that. You can't, because I mean, and it also depends on the circumstance of the loss, you know. So a person is bound to go through that stage of denial. You know, I can't believe this person was just here with me 2 days ago. It's
not
like,
more.
you know,
The whole of it.
I will never see this person again. Like in my lifetime, that's something very difficult to come to terms with.
Honestly,
That's something very, very difficult to come to terms with.
It is actually.
You know, and it's understandable when people shy away from what's in front of them, shy away from confronting this experience that they've been forced into, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to be brave in those times. I mean, take all the time you need by all means.
Yeah, you know, people try to run away from that feeling, like you don't want to be down and everything. I always advise people when they lost a loved one, advise them to really spend that time and grieve, because at least the person deserves that.
Yes,
Yeah, wherever you lost deserve you to just create time and grieve.
There's something interesting someone said during the book launch. It was that, imagine putting Mentos in a bottle of Coke.
Yeah.
You know, when you shake it up and open it, it explodes and but when you open it just a little bit, it sizzles a little, and you open it just a little bit. So bit by bit. And then you find that when you finally, you know, open the whole thing, the effect is not as catastrophic as when you were. So I think it's like a deliberate effort of baby steps, you know, just one foot ahead of the other.
One step at a time. Yep. So that's also. All right. So these days, people actually tend to subdue their emotions and they don't express themselves. They try to stay very cold and chin up. You get, and in the process, but what they do is they use past experience from other people to judge new people, even without even expressing them. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of things are happening that people they don't show emotions anymore. They feel like if you show emotion is weakness. They feel like if you show emotion, it's like you are not up to par, you are below standards and none of that. But I'm actually not on the run for that. So I don't advise that you should store and accumulate emotions. I feel like be very expressive and all of that. But then I think people need to be more aware about this, because it's like a tank. So I want to hear your own point of view. I have a lot to say about this actually, but then I want to hear you first. Let me hear what you have to say about accumulating these emotions.
For me, I think the first thing I would say is you're not doing yourself a favor by pretending you don't feel things, you know? And I understand that. I mean, we're human beings.
Yeah.
So when we are hurt, like the immediate reaction is to form like a wall of protection around ourselves.
Defense.
So we build these walls. So take, for instance, a very primary example, a child on fire, you know, so that's like our innate, you know, response to things like that. So a child puts his or her hand in fire and like, that's an experience that tells them not to go there anymore. And I think that that's like essentially a part of who we are, you know. We are reactive to things like that.
Yeah.
And we want to protect ourselves in the future from things like that.
Yeah.
And in some sense, it's like wise, you know, to be aware of the things that have hurt you, but then to build a monument out of them and to not give others the benefit of doubt because you've been hurt.
Expressed it before.
That's not a very wholesome, you know, thing to do.
It's a trend. It's a trend, actually.
It is a trend.
People will be like, I don't care what people say about me. I don't give a fuck. I don't do this. I don't do that. Because of this reason.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
They just feel like everybody is like this.
Yeah.
And they kind of stereotype people and all of, yeah. And in the process, I feel you're actually losing it. This is life.
Yeah.
We should not forget that we don't really know what's happening the next minute. Even as we are talking, we don't know what's going to happen in the next seconds. It's really unfolds that we now say, okay, this is what is supposed to happen. So if you keep holding back,
Yeah.
accumulating people's behavioral patterns, maybe what they've done to you in the past and all of that, if you keep holding it to you inside, it's like a tank.
Yeah.
Just how you talked about the Coke and the Mentos. You keep compiling until there's a point that you get filled up. We have it with our capacity is not unlimited. It's limited to a point. And when you get to that cap, it will explode. Definitely. And when it explodes, that's when you start having crisis. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like people should start getting used to the term of flow like let it flow like water.
Flow like water.
Yeah, let it flow like water. Allow your emotions flow. If you want to cry, stop crying.
Cry.
You want to
Whatever you
want to do anything. You want to yell. You want to get angry. People will really hold it. I know. I understand the idea of emotional regulation and all of that, but then there are sometimes that you really need to let it out as soon as possible. If not, it will really tell on you, your looks, your behavioral pattern, the way you do things. I just see some persons, I just see them, they are looking angry. Their face is already looking like they are frowning. I mean, why they are not actually frowning? As a result of holding things. There's one joke on me and my soul that they were like, say, no, everybody will get bitches. Then they go gym. So when they carry things for their mind. And that's why they're just
money along.
yes, no. Because if you don't let things flow, your chance will be big. And people think you're going to the gym. So it shows on people's behavioral pattern. Also, their energy, the kind of energy they spread in the environment. You go to somewhere and people are already feeling uncomfortable with your presence. Yeah. It's due to this fact that you have something in you that you have not released. So I'm trying to see how people can be more aware to know that it's not about you just chinning up, macho man, I'll take it, so balance it, nothing will happen. No. You want to cry, you cry. You want to shout. You want to yell. You want to do anything, like your emotions, do it. In that process, you are actually freeing yourself and you're giving yourself space to collect more energy. That's actually how I see this. So we should throw more light on that. Actually, let's hear your point of view. This is my own point of view. So you should hear your point of view.
Yeah, it's how you said it's a trend. You know that when people get hurt by others, they sort of like, you know, use that as a standard to measure others. And the consequence of that is that they shut like virtually everybody out. So you see a person and they don't have friends and you ask them why, they tell you it's because they've been hurt by people before. So they are not, you know, they're not giving any chances basically. And that's a dangerous place to be because we are wired to be dependent on others.
Do you understand?
We need community.
Do you understand?
Perhaps even more than we think we do.
Yeah, actually.
We need community.
True.
You know, so that's a dangerous space to be. You know, imagine living all your life in isolation.
Just here.
That's quite sad.
Yes, like the lockdown. Imagine the lockdown, how it felt.
Yeah, the fullness of life is in interaction with people.
Community.
Yes, that's the fullness of life. You know, and so if you don't have that, there's something deficient and there's something lacking. I know that a lot of people like to say, oh no, I prefer to be by myself and da. I even dare say that's not God's design for us.
No, it's not.
Say
Adam was created and he was all by himself.
Yeah.
And
God is like, no, it's not enough. So even God thinks like you shouldn't be by yourself, and then you all knowing.
Yeah, it's not by yourself.
you now want to say you want to be by yourself, so that's actually a dangerous space to be. So I would encourage anyone who is in that space to, I know it's not easy, and sometimes the way people hurt us, the way they've treated us, the way they've dragged our dignity, because sometimes these situations get really messy. So the way people experience like negative things like that, especially in conjunction with their relations with others, sometimes it puts them off completely. And that's not something that is like unfounded, basically. It's not something unfounded. It's not something anybody's going to fault you for. That's your experience. It's okay for you to have had that reaction, right? But then when it comes down to it, you have to learn that these things are part of life. And you have to glean the good out of it, take the best out of it and walk away.
Sure.
That messy situation happened, yes. But then at the end of the day, what did it teach you?
What did you learn?
Yes, who have you become as a consequence of
Exactly.
that? Use what you've learned as your armor and then go back into the battlefield.
That's what it is. But going back into the battlefield now, okay, it goes both ways. Using your past experience to learn lessons so you don't fall into the same pits.
Yeah.
Or ignoring your past experience.
It's a thing of wisdom.
Okay.
It's a thing of wisdom. So it's like using that, not
Because what I was saying is people actually block out entirely and they be like, okay, because this person has done me like this, any person that is maybe this gender or probably this set of people, whenever they come to me, this is how I'm going to be because of this past behavior. Is it wise for you to forget about what they actually did to you? But why am I saying this? I'm coming from both angles. You understand? I say, okay, let yourself lose. We know we had the past experience, yes, but then this is a new person. Experience this new person.
Experience.
You understand? Experience it without the past judgments. You understand?
And I think, I don't know, not everybody's, but I think we have this thing called intuition.
Yeah, sure.
Energy hardly ever lies.
True, I'm an energy person now.
Yeah, that's just the thing. So like that's why God has made us the way He is, and He has put His Spirit in us. Like we have discernment, basically. So there are some things you can be able to discern and tell. Now, not in all situations. That's just the honest truth. Sometimes we are preoccupied with other things and we don't realize until it's too late. It tells you when you're around other people.
Sure.
Listen to what your mind tells you. Listen to what your spirit tells you.
Yeah.
So that's one way to arm and protect yourself. But then give everybody grace.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Please give us grace, please. Come on. Come on. Come on. No, I love the line. Give us grace.
Yeah, give everybody
Give us grace. That's cool. Continue, Pastor. I love that. That's cool. Man, I love that.
Because that's the least people deserve. And the people who have hurt you, there's also that. The people who have hurt you are also not like they are bad people innately, because there's value in everybody. God created those people who have hurt you. So it's like okay, like those people are also God's children.
Yeah.
I know it sounds cliche, but it's true.
No, it is not cliche. Definitely everybody's
true.
God's child.
Yes. Those people are also, and God is also taking them through a process, like He's taking you. You're not pleasant to everybody. Not everybody has a great story to tell about you, Like there's always going to be one person who says, oh, I don't think this person is all that. And that's absolutely fine. Everybody is walking through
Different.
through a different path, and there are different levels in their journey. And God is teaching everybody different things at different points, And so, like, even that's why there's space for redemption.
Exactly.
Even those people who have hurt you, can turn out to be great people tomorrow.
For sure.
That's the work that God has done in them, So that's the space for grace. Even for the people who have hurt you, to know that they hurt you today, it doesn't mean they can't become better people. So giving people grace, giving yourself grace, because there's also the angle of people not even forgiving themselves.
Yeah.
And so they don't give other people access.
They've passed
Yes.
that energy.
Yeah.
Wherever that person they meet.
So
They've not actually healed them.
yeah, coming down to the aggressor and the aggressee now. So, say I'm the aggressor, and I did this thing to you, and it's hurt you visibly, and because of what I've done to you, it's made you become somebody who doesn't give other people the benefit of doubt, who sort of like shuns other people, who is mean to other people because of what I caused.
Okay.
Do you understand? So there's this place of if I'm observant as I'm just painting a scenario. So even as the aggressor myself, like if I have a conscience, and we all do, even as an aggressor myself, I can come to terms with the fact that this is what I've done to this person.
Yeah.
And that's also space for some level of growth and increase in my life. Because when I come to terms with that, then I can now decide on my own that, okay, I want to be better, I want to do better, and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that you will now at the end of the day be accepting of me or whatever. I don't really.
No, that's not. I must not accept.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that.
I mustn't accept.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you mean?
No, okay. What I mean is like the place of the aggressor and the aggressee. So we're turning the tables around now. So it's like, okay. You were talking about earlier. You were talking about a person who sort of like treats other people terribly because of what one person has done to them. And so we exhausted that conversation. Yeah. But then flipping the tables now, there's also the place of that person who was the aggressor and their own journey in and of itself. And they can metamorphose and they can change and all of that, And so generally, it's just around the conversation of grace that we should be able to give others grace, even as we've experienced grace.
There's a thin line between giving other people's grace and doing too much. Yeah, there's a thin line actually. There's a thin line. Yeah, what I mean doing too much is because when somebody is redeeming them, then when you're giving space for redemption, somebody has hurt you, right? And you're giving space for redemption. They'll say, okay, I'm giving this person a chance to redeem themselves, right? And they try to redeem themselves and they go awol again, and you give them the chance to redeem themselves. Just as God is, whenever you come to God, He's always forgiving. You understand? Where is the thin line? There's a thin line actually that where you should stop, because probably it's now becoming the person is now abusing the privilege of you. You understand? The person is now abusing the privilege of you, giving them the chance to redeem themselves. Like they do it the first time, they take the second time, third time. What's the thin line? Where do I identify the thin line that okay, I should stop here? I'm done.
Okay.
Because why I asked this is because, as I said initially, people use the past experience to stereotype other people. Now this is because they have gone to that line and they are done.
This is a very delicate, sensitive one. Because so I think the simple way to answer this is forgive, but it doesn't mean that you need to give these people access to your life.
Cut access.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you need to give these people access to your life. When a behavior is repetitive, if forgiving them the first time, you've given them access. If the behavior is negative, it means that you're constantly polluting your life with that. And you love them, but that's when something toxic is like I said, polluting your life. It's impeding you basically. Sure. You're not functioning at your highest you. You're not your highest self. This thing is constantly causing you stress
because you care about that person.
You care about that person. So this is actually a very, very important conversation to have, because we find that these are real situations where you love somebody, but their behavior does not allow you to fully love them.
It doesn't even allow you to be you.
Yeah, is the word is that fully love? Where you love somebody, this is a double take on what I just said. Okay. So you can even expunge that. Where you love somebody and their behavior is inhibiting you from fully accepting them.
Yeah. That's coming from an awesome position. That's a nice way to rephrase.
It's inhibiting you from accepting them. Because we find those situations, and that even reminds me of our conversation about, people who have hurt you and how you engage with them like sometimes you cut people off, not because like you don't love them.
Not because you hate them.
Not because you hate them. It's because it's a necessary thing to do in that moment.
And also the impacts.
The impact on your life, on your spiritual life, because energies are contagious.
Yeah, sure.
So if you're bringing a gutter energy in,
okay. Funny enough, yes, because it's true. Yeah, it's true. People have gutter energy.
So if you're bringing that,
we also have hours. Yeah, maybe a sprinkle. Yeah, or more.
But that's the
never can tell.
You realize that you've been somebody that you do not recognize or you do not like, and then you, as a grown responsible person, you take the initiative to pay attention to that and to work on it. You know,
Yes.
some people don't do that. That's the yeah, and that's why you see those repetitive behaviors. You know, that's for me. That's like that. I view that as irresponsible.
That's
where a
actually what
person-
it is.
Yes, that's irresponsible. Not taking responsibility for
No, that's actually what
yeah
it is.
for your negative
Well, irresponsibility. Somebody was asking me. I didn't check the meaning of responsibility. Like I've never googled the meaning of responsibility before, but I just know what it means. But then when somebody asks me what's the meaning of responsibility, and I was like, that was way back. I think I was in 311 in school. I just thought, the first thing, people in the school, I answer questions in the exams. I look at the word. The meaning of the thing is inside the word. Yes, I just said the ability for you to respond to situation. That's what responsibility is. So as I said this, like, just flashed in my head. I was like, okay, that's why I had to highlight that word responsible.
yeah
People don't take responsibility of their own growth and development.
yeah
You see that you did something that's bad, it hurts this person, right? The person came to you and told you that, okay, this and this is what you did that hurts me, right? How far? Let's find a way that this will not repeat itself again. And you heard that person express themselves, which you know is very difficult for somebody to really come out and express themselves to you and tell you that, okay, this is what you're doing that's really pissing me off or getting me off the grid. And you heard that, you took that information and you threw it away.
yeah
And you go back to do the same thing that the person complained of, and you expect the person to approach you the same way. It's not done. You are not taking responsibility. If you really love that person, if the relationship or whatever it is, the partnership means anything to you, you understand that, okay, this is a benchmark. This person, after this line, this person don't want me to cross here. This person don't want me to cross here. We're creating boundaries here. You understand? If you don't respect the boundaries in the relationship or the partnership, then you don't deserve that relationship or partnership.
yes.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I like that you said this thing about being deserving of the relationships and partnerships, because like people going again to our conversation about repetitive behavior, somebody doing something toxic over and over again.
You've seen that behavioral pattern repeating itself.
Of you saying, please stop this, this. The person keeps repeating those behaviors over and over again. And what that person is telling you by implication is that they refuse to be deserving of what you have.
You hear people say something like, I want to be me. Do you understand? You say something about we can't be in isolation for a long time. If you want to be you, you should be prepared to be in isolation for a long time. Because
that's the word.
Yes, because if you know you have to go into anything that has to do with the community.
Because people love you, but you can't keep bruising them and then expecting them to accept you.
Accept you the way you are. There's your point of view, your personal individual point of view, and there's a general point of view. If you're in your house by yourself, there are things you can do and nobody will ask you anything. You do it freely. Once you're in a group, in a settings where you have a group of people, there's a way you must behave.
Yes.
So if you can't identify how to behave in a relationship or a partnership, and differentiate it from when you are alone by yourself, then that's where I see that somebody is not responsible, because you can't really identify which is which. You are just one person in every environment. And me, I don't really support it, because you have to know the difference.
You do have to
in different environment and how to operate in different environments. So actually, words too deep. In this particular.
Expect that we're going to go that deep, but we did. And just a closing remark to this particular facet, I think I highlight something like that in my book. Somebody burning and expecting you to burn underneath them. And for me, that's like that's ego. That's a symptom. Like that's ego, basically.
Exactly.
That's the essence of ego. To say that, people have to stay beneath you. People have to accept terrible things that you do to them or say to them or are to them. Accept it. That's negative ego.
Because you are God.
Yeah, which you understand. When you are not my personal Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, even Jesus Christ, even God, so loved us that He gave somebody to die for. Do you get? So God made the ultimate sacrifice. God put Himself through pain so that we would be free. So what you're doing is the opposite. But let's not get into that.
Not to get into it.
What you're doing is the opposite of that love. If you expect people to you know that this thing is hurting somebody, and you bring that behavior up,
I said you love the
and you say that's not love, that's hate, that's something you need to work on. So I was just trying to highlight the ego part, you know. And I was going to say that one of the most useful tools that a person can have in life and in the world is humility. Like, if you don't have it, learn it. You know,
true.
we're not talking about like low self-esteem. We're not talking about like, no, that's not, we're talking about actual humility.
Yeah, you're aware.
Aware that you have to listen to people, that you have to learn from people, that you have to attempt to understand people, that if somebody says this thing you did, I didn't like the way, like, I didn't like how that made me feel, you know, you can talk to yourself and adjust.
Yes.
You know, because that's what humanity is, helping ourselves, helping each other survive. You know, and if you're not helping the person next to you survive, then
I guess you should leave the person alone to find a way around his own survival. Yeah, actually.
doing it right.
Sounds deep. High five on this particular one. I'm giving high five for it. What's first conversation, sorry?
This was deep. Yeah.
So the center remains with us. Awesome book by Elela Attah. I love the book. And what's the end goal? Somebody reads it from the cover to the back page. Everything of this book. What's the end goal? What do you want them to go home with?
I think for me, the first thing I would say that I would want people to go home with is empathy.
Empathy.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, that's, for me, that's the core of humanity.
Man.
And so I want people to read this and see experiences, not their own, but understand those experiences, so that in their engagement with people and in their interactions in circumstances similar to this, they will be able to interact in a way that helps another person feel seen.
No.
Another thing is, I'd like people to, when they read my book, one of the purposes of, you know, one of the things I had in mind when I was creating the poems was I wanted to help people feel seen, basically. So, yeah, I want people to have that experience when they read the book. I want people to look at it and say, oh my gosh, I saw a poem there. I saw a couple of poems there that made me feel seen, you know, that understood me. For me, that's the ultimate thing. To be seen, to be understood.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, because when I think why my motivations at these particular things was because when I experienced loss, the thing that kickstarted my journey on poetry, I didn't really feel seen. There were lots of cliches around me. You know, people telling me everything happens for a reason. God is on the throne, and yes, he is, yes. And so, but all of those things were nice, but they were not true to me. They were not the things I needed to hear at that moment. Yeah. So when I started writing, like, I had in my heart and at the back of my mind to ensure that my writing would do that for people.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's why I try to speak as honestly as possible.
That's deep.
Yeah, so that people would read it and see themselves.
Actually, I actually felt the thing when I read the book, and I said that to you as well. That's why I called you a superhuman, and you did a good job actually. So it's an amazing time hanging out with nobody else but Princess Elela Attah, and it has been an awesome experience so far. And I would like every one of you to get this book, and it's not just hype and talk. It's not just hype and talk. Basically, it's inside the book, and I'll put the link, as I said, in the description of this video. You click the link and you can purchase the book. It will be delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah.
Right?
It will be.
Okay, so packaged and delivered to your doorstep, and you experience everything we discussed here. Yeah. And you can follow on her Instagram.
Elela Attah.
Yeah, it will be on the screen.
Princess.
Exactly.
If you want a copy of the book, you can send a DM to Elela Attah or Elela Princess, and you will be responded to. I also have the links to, you know, all the platforms where you can get the book on my bio. So see you there.
I love the way she took it from me. So that was outsourcing that stress. So thank you very much. Guys, I'm really here. As it's been an awesome morning.
It's been an awesome time. You are That guy.
Right, that guy.
You are totally the
Yes, sir. Thank you.
literally
That's
first
fun.
time. Thank you
That's
for
fun.
easing me into the conversation.
Yes, so and
Yeah.
okay, I'm not sure you can see it from there, but she gave me an autograph and a note. Very awesome note. You know, I've read it like 5 times. I'm actually think it's very personal. Don't worry, you can't see it. I'll show you. Thank you very much. And there's a Stay with K podcast, the episode for the season. So we're going to be dropping more episodes with awesome people. We're going to be dropping awesome guests. And she's also going to come back here. Yeah, probably, maybe after a while, she'll come back. She'll be a regular face, definitely, because I enjoy this particular conversation. And you know this thing is saying, you know this thing is, stop playing for. All right, there. Thank you. So, you see on the other side is a wrap.
Outside.
Thank you.